Today marked the start of Baltimore Ravens mandatory minicamp, and everybody was in attendance. Everybody was in the building. Everybody showed up and was active, was participating, and that's a beautiful thing and also a big deal. And I'm going to tell you why. Reason being because Ravens have several players who are not only eligible for contract extensions, but they are extremely deserving of contract extensions. You think about Lamar Jackson, and he's due to get a new deal any day now, especially because over the next 2 years, his salary cap hit goes up to $75 million. You know the Ravens ain't gonna want to play on that. But then you think about guys like Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, guys who are looking to reset the market at their positions, guys who are probably looking at being some of the top paid at their positions in the league, guys that could be like, you know what, Ravens ain't paid me yet, even though I'm eligible, even though I've earned it, you know what, I'm going to sit out. They ain't do that. They're not doing that. And the reason that that's so significant to me is because you look right around the corner in the AFC North. You look at what's going on with those other teams. Look at what's going on with the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson. He's somebody that has earned and deserves a contract extension, but the Bengals, they ain't paid him yet. And he said, no, I ain't showing up. I ain't doing this. Oh, yeah, no thanks. And he's been going through contract disputes with them for years. You look at their first-round draft pick from this year, Shamar Stewart. He showed up, but he ain't been participating in nothing because they can't even get him signed. And then you look at Pittsburgh, somebody else who is definitely deserving of another contract extension, TJ Watt, one of the best edge players in the entire NFL. And he decided, you know what? No, I ain't messing with y'all right now. Let me get my bread. So it's just a beautiful thing to be able to say, all right, the Baltimore Ravens, while they do have some players that I'm sure want contract extensions, those players are still showing up and they still participating in everything. So that says a whole lot about where the Baltimore Ravens are at as a team. That says a whole lot about their camaraderie, their chemistry, their mindset, and just the love that they got amongst each other when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens as a franchise. Now, with today being the first day of mandatory minicamp for the Baltimore Ravens, they had a press conference that featured T. Martin, the QB coach, that featured new wide receiver Deandre Hopkins, and that featured Mr. Lamar Jackson. And Lamar, he continues to show that he is one of us. I mean, y'all know that he's one of us, but he also showed that he is a fan of the Baltimore Ravens. And he's just like us fans that just want the team to get as good as possible, because he was asked about Jair Alexander, his old teammate at Louisville and his friend, his boy. And Lamar Jackson, he ain't shy away. He ain't do that coach talk that a lot of them do and say, oh, well, we'll take a look at all veteran players when they're available. No! Lamar Jackson said, go get him, Eric. And Lamar Jackson even said that he hit him up himself. So I said, Lamar, you are really for the people, right? I see it, man. We already knew that, but we see it. But anyway, let's see what happens. Because he said, hey, I don't know what's going to happen, but let's see. Anyway, he talked about the bonding, the off-field bonding. He said he feels that that'll help the team a lot more. And he said that we'll know what one of us is thinking without even having to say too much. He also talked about how DeAndre Hopkins said he's different, man. And he even called him a super vet. Like, I never heard nobody say that, but he called DeAndre Hopkins a super vet. He was talking about a catch that he made in practice today. He also talked about how last year they were pretty good. They were pretty good, but the sky's the limit. And they had weapons last year, and they didn't get it done. So this year, because they were asking him about the weapons this year compared to last year and whatnot, adding DeAndre Hopkins. He said they didn't get it done last year, straight up. So this year, obviously, they hope to finish the job. Now, this part really stuck out to me because this really sealed the deal. We also got a question from Teamkeepitclean coming up later from my guy Liam. He talked about it. But Lamar Jackson, he spoke on Mark Andrews. And when he spoke on Mark Andrews, he said that he's seen how people have been talking about Mark Andrews. Because Lamar Jackson lets it be known. He'd be on Twitter. He'd be looking at all that stuff and whatnot. But he said that he hates it. He said he don't like it at all, how people have been talking about Mark Andrews. And he said that Mark Andrews has done so much for the Baltimore Ravens. He said Mark Andrews is still his guy. So if there was any speculation, if there was anybody still wondering, could Mark Andrews possibly still get traded? He could, but he's not. He ain't going nowhere. Lamar done stamped him like that. Yeah, Mark Andrews ain't going nowhere. But anyway, let's continue. He also talked about the playoff game. And he said that he threw a boneheaded interception and fumbled. And so he was basically saying that everything wasn't all on Mark Andrews like a lot of people tried to put it. Mark Andrews did have some impact plays in that one for sure. like the drop pass and then the fumble, then the drop 2-point conversion, but it was not all on Mark Andrews. And that's true. It can be very hard to look at it like that, especially because of when the plays happen, but it's not solely on Mark Andrews. He also talked about how the most fun thing he did this offseason, he said it was actually coming to Baltimore and being with his guys. I said, okay, Lamar, Mr. Leader. And he also said that one of his offseason focuses was just reviewing game film and trying to make the game a lot easier for us, so for the entire team. Not just for him. He said for us. Now, that's a whole other step in the right direction. Because if it's easier for you, and he talked about that last year, the game slowing down for him even more, but if you're making it easier for everybody else, ooh, it's going to be nasty. And now this part I really like because I really appreciated this. He said he talked about how some young guys on the team, he was asked about, we see you like speaking up more and talking more. He said, is this because of the situations, because it's year 8? And Lamar was like, yeah, it's year 8 in the situation too. But he also talked about how he feels like there's a lot of there's some veterans on the team. He's a veteran on the team, obviously, but there's a lot of young guys too. And with some young guys, they will be a little nervous to come up to him. So he says he'll go up to them and he'll talk to them. He'll initiate conversation with them. And that just speaks about him just continuing to be an approachable person. And then he also spoke about Rashad Bateman. And he said Bateman definitely deserved his deal. And Bateman, he said the beginning of his career got slowed by injuries and whatnot, but Bateman showed everybody last year what was up. So it was nice to hear from Lamar Jackson. We hadn't heard from Lamar Jackson in a little while, so it was nice to get a refresher from our favorite and the best quarterback in the league. Now, Deandre Hopkins, new Baltimore Ravens wide receiver, super vet. He also spoke to the media, and some stuff that stuck out to me about what he said. He talked about communication, and this part, he said he's probably played with more QBs than any wide receiver. And initially when he said that, I was thinking, oh yeah, of course he played with more QBs than any wide receiver on the Ravens, but he was talking about throughout his career and just all the wide receivers in the NFL. And then I thought about that. I said, oh yeah, because he was on the Texans just going through a bunch of different quarterbacks, a whole lot. He was still balling. He played for the Titans with a couple different quarterbacks. He played for the Cardinals. He was playing with Kyler Murray at first. Kyler Murray got hurt, so he was playing with different quarterbacks there too. Then, of course, he played with Patrick Mahomes as well. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so, but yeah, so DeAndre Hopkins, he done made his rounds throughout the NFL, and he has seen a lot of quarterbacks. So he just talked about how communication is so important when it comes to telling the quarterback what you want to do, what you like. He talked about how he talked with Lamar Jackson, even after they complete passes, talking about how, this is what I like to do, this is what you should like to do, this is what you like. They're just trying to get a feel for each other. So that's important. And he also said that he's here to help. And when he said that, it just continues to reinforce exactly what he expects his role to be, as a supportive wide receiver, not as the number one guy. Now, I still do feel like we got 3 number 1 receivers, but DeAndre Hopkins, he just has a very supportive role, and he continues to let that be known whenever he speaks, which I appreciate. He was asked about like comparing Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. He said he ain't doing that. Because Lamar Jackson, he said he's a unique quarterback. He said Patrick Mahomes, he's a unique quarterback. He said these guys in the NFL for a reason. They all unique quarterbacks. But then this part too, this part I love because he put a little pressure on the Ravens. And I like it because they need that. He said he was asked if he had ever been on an offense with this many weapons. And he thought about it for a little bit. And he said that he couldn't dismiss the Chiefs from last year. He said because they made it to the Super Bowl. So he said they were a nice team. They made it to the Super Bowl. And when he said that, I was like, oh, okay, DeAndre Hopkins, he's showing like, all right, Chiefs were a team with a bunch of weapons. Ravens keep being talked about as a team with a bunch of weapons. And that could give them that little extra push because everything matters. Everything matters. That any extra push, any extra motivation can help them make it over the hump. But he's letting it be known like, hey, weapons ain't everything. You still got to get it done. You still got to win the games. Obviously, regular season, then come playoffs. You still got to make it there. Weapons still ain't finished the job last year. So it takes more than just weapons. It obviously takes a complete game from start to finish. The personnel, the coaches, everything. So Ravens, they really got to be on it this year if they're going to get the job done. Ravens QB coach T. Martin, he also spoke to the media, and he talked about if Lamar Jackson watched film this offseason. He said Lamar Jackson just watched all the games that they lost. And talked about like how did they lose, what happened, why did they lose to that team, what went wrong. And he also said that the Buffalo loss, that was a deep felt loss. And it was for Lamar. Lamar Jackson even talked about during his presser. He said that he don't get over no losses. Losses from Little League all the way to losses up to now. He said he don't get over them at all. So, yeah, you do really sound like one of us, like a Ravens fan, because, yeah, we still hurting from last year. Anyway, he also talked about how with Lamar Jackson's playoff performances, that it's in his heart and on his mind that he just got to finish. He talked about how Lamar Jackson knows that it's the obvious stuff that they got to fix, like the turnovers, the interceptions, the fumbles, and just not finishing. And that's what they got to work on. And they know that. They know that. They just got to, it's just a matter of doing it. And he also said DeAndre Hopkins has been talking to Lamar Jackson a lot this entire offseason. So from OTAs, they've been having a lot of conversations, just getting acclimated with each other, and then it's continuing during minicamp as well. Now, I love when we can get a plethora of great news on the Baltimore Ravens, and something that I initially didn't even catch, with it being reported that everybody was there in the building for OTAs, obviously minus Ardarius and Emery, but Chidobe, Awuzie, and Beau, Brade, both of them were not only there, but participating as well. Y'all remember a couple of weeks ago when we got a little injury scare, they said that Beau Brade, he was being helped off the field. He could not even put any weight on his leg. So that was scary. With Chido, they said it was probably like a lower ankle injury and it was nothing crazy. But with Beau Brade, if you got to get helped off and you can't put any weight on your leg, then that's literally a sign of doom 9.9 times out of 10. But Harbaugh did tell us about a week ago, like, hey, those are minor injuries for both of them. And that was a beautiful thing. But like I said before, when we made that video, when Harbaugh said that, we said we got to trust Harbaugh when it comes to his injury statuses, because he's given us every single reason and more recently, not before, but recently, to trust him on that. And both of them are back. So they ain't even had to wait till training camp to come. They came back for mandatory mini camp. So Ravens are healthy. Not everywhere, but Ravens, for the most part, are healthy and getting healthier. So that's a beautiful sign. You know, it's never too early to start thinking about the 2026 NFL draft for the Baltimore Ravens, because they got a nice reminder of a bonus that they are going to get next NFL draft season. Let's read the report from Jameson Hensley. It said, it looks like the Ravens are in line for 2 fifth-round compensatory picks in 2026 after losing cornerback Brandon Stephens and offensive lineman Patrick Mekari in free agency. Brandon Stephens, he went to the Jets. Pat Mekari went to the Jaguars, I believe. And it said, and possibly a 7th rounder for losing offensive tackle Josh Jones. So, hey, Ray, keep the good news coming in, baby. We need even more. Now, you know, Eric DeCosta with them comp picks. Like, especially since you could trade him now. I mean, he don't want to trade no picks. He want to keep all the picks that he could possibly get. So this is a good thing, though, because that means that those free agents of the Baltimore Ravens, they signed deals that were large enough to award them comp picks for the following year. So that'll be a nice bonus for Eric DeCosta and the Ravens to have even more ammo to use next draft season. Now, while we did get a whole lot of great news today, it wasn't all so great because we got an update on the kicking game from today from Tyler Loop and John Hoyland. So, Jeff Rebick said, Ravens kicker Tyler Loop went 2 for 4 during the team period. He missed a point after a touchdown and a 42-yarder. So, okay. He said he was good from 43 and 45. All right, cool, that's good. He said John Hoyland was 4 for 4. A couple of veterans, including Lamar and Patrick Ricard, approached Tyler Loop to encourage him after he missed, and Harbaugh pulled him aside as well. So, again, it's mini camp. So let's just get to training camp and see how it goes. Still not gonna freak out yet, but a little concerned, but still not gonna freak out yet because it's early. Man, I certainly do hope the good news could keep rolling in all the way till February, but we'll see how this season shakes itself out. Now, some great news is that we've made it to my favorite part of these videos where we get to feature your questions. Send me an email at teamkeepitclean@gmail.com if you want to be part of it. Or if you want to send it on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids to become a patron and send your question directly on there. Check out the merch. The link is in the description. If you ever want to send anything, the mailing address is down below in the description. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's get into this first question that came from my guy Twan. And he said, peace, brother. Peace to you, and I hope all is well with you and your family. Shout out to the fathers. 2 questions. Appreciate you, Twan. Thank you very, very much, my friend. He said 2 questions. How do you think we would be if that trade the Chiefs made for Xavier Worthy didn't happen? What if we got him instead of our cornerback? Ooh, that would have been something. That would have been fun, too. That would have been a lot of fun if the Ravens got Xavier Worthy, especially knowing now what we didn't necessarily know back then, but was that the Ravens, they know how to develop some wide receivers now. So having him, like, Zay Flowers got some good speed. Rashad Bateman got some good speed. His speed is very, very underrated. DeAndre Hopkins, he could still run that thing too, man. He still got some good speed as well. But had we gotten Xavier Worthy, like, his speed is different from all of theirs. It's on a whole nother level from all of theirs. So just imagining him with Todd Monken and Todd Monken being able to deploy him in so many different, it would have been very, very fun. And this offense could have been even more glitchy and been an even bigger problem than it already is. But yeah, that would have been nice. He said, second question could we get Derrick Henry to run kickoffs back? Whoa, no. Yeah, this is something for Madden, but real life, no. He said, could we get Derrick Henry to run kickoffs back? Nobody would tackle him, LOL. And like the defenders trying to catch Henry in a kickoff, I'm out. Now, that would be something right there. But, yeah, you would literally have Derrick Henry catching the ball, running full speed. Like, initially when I read it, it sounded crazy. And it still might sound a little crazy, but it don't sound too crazy once you say it out loud and you really think about the situation. Derrick Henry would be catching the ball, so he'd be hitting his stride earlier. He'd have a lot more open space and ain't nobody gonna want to tackle him. That would be a problem, but, Ravens ain't doing nothing like that. Next question came from my guy Liam. He said, good morning, Raven, and to the rest of the Ravens flock. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Appreciate you, my friend. He said, I hope you all are having a wonderful start to your summers. Oh, yeah, that sun, especially down here in Florida. It's on another level. But anyway, he said, a happy Father's Day to all the fathers and team. Keep it clean. I'll cut to the chase. Why are Ravens fans so fast to move on from Mark Andrews? Still, it's the middle of June, and I still see fans and analytics talking about how the Ravens should move on from him. I get it. Andrews had a terrible game in the divisional round versus Buffalo, but he is still Mark Andrews. I refuse to believe he is going to magically regress this offseason after finishing the season with his career highs in touchdowns in the season with 11, his career highs in receiving success rate in a season with 68.1%, his career highs in catch percent with 79.7%, and mind you, that is him starting off the season slow. He didn't score his first touchdown until week 6. Ooh, that's a good point. I do believe he had like career lows in yards or average yards per game, but that's a really, really good point. Because, yeah, he ain't scored for a while, man. And we so used to Mark Andrews scoring from week 1, week 2 at the latest, but usually week 1. Like, Mark Andrews literally in there from jump, but not last year. That's a really good point. He said, one bad game shouldn't define him as a human or a player. Andrews has all... Now, is that part where I know a lot of Ravens fans will give you kickback for sure on that. They're not going to say one bad game, because Andrews has had bad games. Plenty of players have had bad games, but where a lot of people would give you pushback on would be, they won't say it's one bad game, they'll say it's him in the playoffs in general. So that's where a lot of people will disagree with you. But anyway, he said, Andrews has always worked his butt off and never caused any trouble for the Ravens, and us as a fan base need to be better at respecting him as a player and what he has done for us. He carried us in that horrible 2021 season when everyone else was hurt, and I'll never forget that. I get he isn't getting any younger, and I'm not saying keep him over likely by any means, but Andrews is still a threat that we can use if it comes down to it. Use Andrews in the regular season and likely in the postseason. Well, that's tricky. I mean, you can do that, but actually, you could. You could do that to where, hey, Mark Andrews, you continue to do your regular season thing, and they could switch it and flip it. But because Lamar got chemistry with both of them, he got crazy chemistry with both of them. He got crazy trust with both of them. But you're gonna want to use both in both situations. Could this be the year with the Baltimore Ravens? Because Harbaugh did say, I want to see Isaiah Likely be an All-Pro. He said that. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Harbaugh just talking, but again, I go back to last year where he said, hey, we want Lamar Jackson to be the best quarterback in the world. We want to see him be the best quarterback in the NFL. And he went on that 2.5 minute, he was going. And like I said before, and I said it plenty of times, I never seen him go to bat for Lamar Jackson like that. Like that, it was different when he said that last year. And look how amazing Lamar Jackson's season was last year. They did everything in their power and more to make sure they got the most out of Lamar Jackson, and they did. It was amazing to see it, man. So with him saying that about Isaiah Likely, could Isaiah Likely have a slightly bigger role than Mark Andrews? We'll see. It's hard to say it, but when Harbaugh did say that about Isaiah, I want to see Isaiah Likely be All-Pro. I don't know. But they definitely both going to have their part in this Baltimore Ravens offense. He said, I don't like the idea of splitting Lamar's number one guy from day one and expecting us to get better. Looking around the rest of the roster, I don't see us needing to upgrade any other position, so why trade him? Also, the only other positions you could upgrade, you could add at safety. You could upgrade at corner, sort of like that number 3 corner role. But other than that, no, you got it. The roster's nice, man. The roster's nice. There's left guard. That's one thing. At edge, Ravens roster pretty good. You could always use an upgrade somewhere here and there, but Ravens roster pretty set. Anyway, he said, also looking at the player trade market, we at best would get Mark for a third round pick. I don't know. I just really don't understand the idea behind trading away the best tight end the Ravens have had. Please tell me your thoughts on it. Oh, we definitely did that throughout. He said, P.S. Thank you for everything you have done for the community. You're a real one, and Team Keep It Clean loves you. No. I love y'all, and I appreciate y'all and everything that y'all do for this channel, because it's y'all channel. It's Team Keep It Clean. It ain't me keep it clean. It's y'all, so I appreciate everything that y'all do. Next question came from my guy Jarvo. He said, which rookie are you most excited to watch on the field? Definitely Malachi Starks, but another one would be Mike Green, because I'm very interested to see what his impact will be as an edge guy from jump, because obviously in college he was like that. But can that consistency carry over to the NFL, to the Baltimore Ravens? Can they put him in positions to have the ultimate success? That's what I'm excited to see, what he does, because it's going to be very, very significant for their decision-making moving forward, because you got Kyle Van last year his contract, Odafe last year his contract. Hopefully, with Odafe specifically, he just balls out and he makes it like, all right, well, it's going to be Odafe and Mike Green for the future. Because Kyle Van not to say that he can't still stick around, but we don't know how many years he got left. And Kyle Van could surprise us. But obviously, with the younger guys, there are the future players. So if we got Odafe on his second contract and Mike Green on his first, and they both balling out as our edge guys, that could be a beautiful thing. So I would love to see something like that happen. So I would say Mike Green. He said, is Starks the most hyped first rounder since Lamar Jackson? No, I would say no, because everybody's excited for him, but people are excited for Kyle Hamilton. People are excited for Zay Flowers, excited for Tyler Linderbaum. So I think it's just with him being a first-round pick, that already adds a lot of excitement to him. All right, he said, thoughts on Chuck-inspired speech during the press conference? I didn't watch it, so I can't really speak on it. And he did say, I have some exciting but nervous news to share. The Team Keep It Clean family. And that is that I found out my girl is about 5 to 6 weeks pregnant. Oh, that boy Jarvo about to be a pops. He said, any advice you have for me, since this would be our first? Wow, congratulations. That's cool, man. There are no certain set of advice. Just be flexible. I will say be flexible. A child changes everything. Your plans, you could plan for something, and your plans could be thrown off a lot, and they will be thrown off a lot because your child, they got their own schedule. Like, you could have your schedule. All right, we're going to do this at this time, this at that time, this at that time. Child comes, you can throw all that out the window. You can, but it's a beautiful thing. It's one of the most rewarding experiences in life. It's special. Just to see, especially as a child continues to get older, just to see your personality, the dad's personality in a child, the mom's personality in a child. It's crazy, man. It is a crazy thing, and it's but it really makes you appreciate things and people a lot more. It gives you a better understanding of parents a lot more too. And I will say that because I know before, for me personally, I would see, like, before I became a father, I might see like a kid, whether we knew them or not, but see a kid crying and screaming, and the parents like, oh, stop. And they, like, if they in a store or something, and they're like, stop, crying and screaming, kids crying and screaming over a toy or something. And then the parents like, we'll just get it. We'll just buy it for them. And I'm like, what? Why would they do that? Why you spoiling that little kid? Like, come on, they crying over the toy. You gave it to them. Really? You give in like that? Come on. But then as a parent from the other side, it's like, oh, you will do anything to get your child to stop crying. Because, especially in different situations, it's tough. Another thing, too, it teaches you a different type of love. Your love for your girlfriend, wife, that's one kind of love. But your love, love for your spouse, that's one kind of love. But love for your child is different, man. Is completely different. Both are obviously beautiful. Love is a beautiful thing, but when it's for your child, it's just different. And that's somebody that you don't ever, I mean, you don't want to see nobody you love in pain or anything like that. But when your child, like, it's just different, because even if they getting shots and you hear them crying, it's like, if they sick and you're like, why can't that sickness be on this? You hate it. It's a different type of love as a parent. But getting to experience that, it's a privilege, and it's something that should never, ever be taken lightly. And it's something it's extremely special, man. So enjoy it.